What if I told you that something as simple as a thumbs up or crossing your legs or even handing somebody money with one hand could ruin your trip or even get you kicked out of a place? Most travelers don't realize this, but there's kind of a culture shock that can go both ways. Because while you're out there, trying to soak in the world is watching you too. Look what happened to Vitaly. And it's important that you know the rules. And if you don't know the rules, they're going to see it. They're going to realize it, and they're probably going to think you're rude. And that's how you accidentally become that tourist. So, you guys, in this video, I'm going to give you some real etiquette tips from around the world. Some of the do's and don'ts and the culture codes that they don't teach you in the travel blogs. So if you've ever wondered how to travel like a local, avoid offense, and gain respect from people you meet, this is the video for you. But first, if you guys like this video, if you like my content, hit that like and subscribe button. Liking and subscribing is the best way for you to support what I do, and it really helps me to continue to make videos like this for you guys. Let's push for 1K followers. But why does etiquette matter? Well, obviously etiquette's going to matter because you want to be able to be respectful to the people that you are around. There's proper etiquette that you need to follow no matter what. Take a look at this whole Vitaly situation. This Vitaly situation was ridiculous, how he acted. He acted like a child. He went and he was messing with people's hats and stealing tricycles and this and that and all this stupid stuff. Now, he also broke laws, but there are also etiquette rules that you need to follow. And these invisible rules that aren't illegal, but it's the proper way to act in the country. I think a prime example of this is actually Japan. And one thing I do love about Japan is how respectful they are to people around them. I do get a little annoyed sometimes here in the Philippines because I feel like people don't care about other people when it comes to playing music really loud. As some of you know, I deal with insomnia, and there are some nights that I just cannot sleep from the smallest amount of noise at all, even though I desperately try to sleep. And it does not help when I hear music just randomly playing. When I just hear music blasting somewhere, that I can't sleep because of that. But I've also found that my neighbor, she's a Filipina. She has the same problems. She also has kids or a boy that needs to sleep. And when people start playing music at 5 o'clock in the morning, or they're playing music until midnight, the boy can't sleep, which means he has trouble waking up for school, or, she, for whatever reason, she can't get any time to think or do anything because the music is constantly playing. But that's not the case in Japan. Japan is very different. You are not supposed to do that. Not on subways, not in public, not in a home, not in a hotel. If you do that kind of stuff, it's not good. So it's recommended to don't do it. Remember this, if there's anything you can remember from this, it's that there is a difference between a traveler and a tourist. One learns the culture, and the other assumes it works just like home. Don't be the one that assumes it works just like home, because it's not. So let's get into the fun stuff, guys. Let's talk about some greetings around the world. We'll talk about 3 in particular. The 3 that I know about the most. Obviously, in Japan, one of the things you want to do is when you greet someone is to bow. I've read that the deeper you bow, the more respectful it means, or something like that. I don't know how true that is. It sounds true. So, when you're meeting someone, it's good to bow. It's good to make a bow to them. I think for older people, you probably want to bow. Maybe for younger people, I think they'll do a deeper bow for you. That's probably the main thing you need to know about Japan. In France, which is a place that I probably will not go if I have to do this, it's cheek kisses. And depending on the region, it can be more than one. I don't like cheek kisses. I don't like to be touched, much less be touched by someone with their lips. I've never been the kind of person who wanted to go to Japan or go to France anyhow, but my fiance does, and that etiquette will be very hard for me. And again, like I said, it depends on the region. Some regions, it's it's proper etiquette to do it more than once. I don't like it. And then a strange one, actually, in the Middle East, you should not touch your left hand. And I just read up on that one for to do this video. I just thought it was weird because I'm left-handed, so I don't know what it is about the left hand that's so bad, but there you go. That being said, guys, remember, the handshake is not always universal. There are some places that it could be rude, and in other places it could be sacred. It could mean something completely different. The next thing to look at is the dress code. There are some religious sites, obviously, where you go in some countries where you should always cover your shoulders. I think this is true for a lot of the Muslim nations, especially in Southeast Asia and the Middle East, and even in Africa in some places. But especially the Muslim places, there are religious sites that you should have your knees and your shoulders covered. It's a sign of respect for their religion, and depending on where you're going, you might want to look into that to see if that's something you need to do, especially if you're the type who likes to wear shorts. I was also seeing that there are some places in Europe where if you wear flip-flops and athletic shorts, it basically screams foreigner. You're basically just screaming out to them. You're like, hey, look, I'm a foreigner. I got flip-flops and shorts on. It's not the same here in the Philippines. Everybody here in the Philippines I see is wearing freaking flip-flops and ball shorts, athletic shorts. I don't like to wear flip-flops. I prefer to wear shoes with socks because flip-flops hurt. Like, they put cuts on my feet. I don't like it. There are a lot of places, especially here in the Philippines, some of the places I've been, but I know also in Indonesia, where modesty is very much valued. You'll want to look a little modest in some of these places because they're very traditional. And I'm okay with that. I like traditional. Now, let's look at some dining etiquette, because food is probably one of the biggest things about culture that you will see. In India and the Middle East, there are some places where the best etiquette is to eat with your right hand only, not your left hand. I don't know why. I will have trouble doing that. I don't think I'll probably go to India anytime soon, but the Middle East I probably will. And eating with my right hand only will be very hard for me because I'm not right-handed. I'm left-handed. So, maybe it's not as bad as it used to be, but there are some places that expect that. And also, in case you didn't know, if you're deciding to go to China, which I was in China, I didn't know this at the time, so I feel kind of bad about it. Leaving a little bit of food on the plate is considered respectful. If you eat everything on the plate, you're basically saying that they didn't give you enough food, and that's not good. So if you're in China and you're getting food, probably best to maybe leave a little bit, at least a little bit of rice, because you'll get rice with almost anything. I promise you that. Rice or noodles. You don't want them to think bad of you or foreigners, I hope. Here's one in Italy for some of my American friends who do this, which is strange to me. I don't know why you would do this. Don't ask freaking ketchup with pasta. I don't know why people think, I don't even know why people think that's good. Ketchup and pasta is god awful. But there are people who think that. And there are people who will go to Italy and ask for ketchup with pasta. What the hell are you thinking? Don't do that crap. That is so disrespectful, and they will think you're nuts. And let me tell you, Italian people, they don't play around with their food. It's better to not do that and, ask for food the way it should be prepared. Now let's talk about some sacred spaces and some behaviors. In Buddhist culture, which I believe Thailand is Buddhist, I can't remember. But in cultures that are Buddhist, there are some that think that it is impolite to touch people's heads. You should not do that. I don't know what it what they believe exactly, but it's not a good thing to touch somebody's head. Also, this goes without saying, you guys should already know this. I've learned this in the Philippines too. This is very common in the Philippines, but it's a lot more common in the East Asian countries. Take your damn shoes off when you enter a house. And in a lot of the East Asian temples, take your shoes off before you enter the temple. That is considered very disrespectful to just walk into a temple with your shoes on, because shoes are dirty and you should not be getting the temple dirty. And as you see, I've lowered my voice. It's also important, especially in sacred places, to keep your voice kind of low. Don't be loud. It's rude. It's arrogant. It's foolish. Churches and mosques and temples, they're not there for you to be loud and make a scene. They're not even really there for you to be taking pictures in. I don't take pictures in churches. I don't take pictures in any sacred place. I went to a Buddhist temple. I can't even remember where it was. And I would not pull my phone out to take a picture because I consider that rude. Now, that's extreme. Not everybody's like that. But just be respectful, especially in places like that. There are also some gender and public displays of affection and body language stuff you should know about. Just know in the Middle East and in parts of Asia, PDA is not a thing. Like, people don't like it. I think, I don't remember what country. It may be illegal in a few countries. I don't think it's a problem in the Philippines. I mean, I hold my fiance's hand all the time, or we lock arms or something, something like that. But there are obviously some places. I'm sure that Japan is one. I think China's one, and a lot of the Middle East is like that, because the Middle East, they're very, very strict on that kind of stuff. And of course, in some cultures, you should not be staring and pointing at people. I don't know why I would have to say this. I don't know why the hell somebody would be doing it. I'll be honest. I think it's I personally think it's rude to stare and point. I get it a lot here in the Philippines because I'm a white guy, but I've learned to deal with it now. I've learned that most people are not doing it to be mean. Most people are doing it to be kind and to try to talk to me, even if they don't know how. Now, also remember, because I know that some of my friends on here might be those types of people that thinks that there's more than two genders or whatever. Most, especially Asian countries, don't believe that crap. And the Middle East, most of the Middle East, and I'm sure most of Africa, they don't buy into that crap. Respect their rules. I don't care how much you identify as the gender you're not. If you go into a country that doesn't buy into that, and you go into the wrong bathroom, you can get in a lot of trouble. And I know for sure in the Middle East, it will not be good for you. Don't do it, because when you're under their law, you follow their law. Doesn't matter how you feel. So just remember that. Now, how about the tipping culture? I'm sure some of you have wanted to hear about this. In the US, obviously, we're expected to tip. I don't have to go over that. Most people do 15 to 20%. I don't, unless I have good service. Well, usually, if I have good service, I give about 40%. If I have bad service, at most I get $1. And if I have okay service, then they'll get about 15 to 20%. I've been known to get a meal that was $50 and I'll give them a $30 tip, or at least a $20 tip, something like that. Nothing too much. However, in Japan, and I think China too, it's rude to give a tip. Don't give a tip. They don't like that. But surprise, surprise, Europe being the interesting place they are, the tip is often included in your price. So you gotta suck it up and pay it anyhow. But it's okay to give a little bit more. I don't think most of them will get upset over that. And finally, guys, the last thing I'll say that is good etiquette is to just learn a few words, at least just a few. At least learn how to say hello, or how to say thank you, or good morning, or something, because people really, really like that. People love it when tourists, especially in areas like where I am, People love it when I say salamat, which means thank you, or say I know, which means what. I just the small random words, they really do appreciate it, and it helps build a connection between somebody that might have a different culture than you. So I recommend that if you're going to another country, learn a little bit of language. It doesn't have to be much, just a few words. It shows that you are taking a genuine interest in their country. Remember that traveling isn't just about seeing new places. It's not. It's about becoming someone who sees with new eyes. And I love that. I don't know where that quote came from, but I absolutely love that quote. Because traveling can teach you so much if you let it. And part of that is knowing how to act, it's knowing how to speak, it's knowing how to listen when you're not at home. And it's not easy. You've got to learn to be able to do that. So if you've learned something new, or if you've cringed remembering something you did, hey, drop it in the comment section below. I'd love to know about it. Let's help each other grow as travelers. Let's work together. And guys, give this video a thumbs up if you believe in respecting other cultures and not just consuming them. And don't forget to subscribe, because every day, every Monday through Friday, I try to make a video. I know you guys are valuable, that you matter. God bless. Peace.